Just your breath is not pretty.
That's a 54-year-old man telling a 23-year-old woman in her country where she flew him as a guest that her breath is not pretty, on camera, with production lights on his face. 8 seconds in, you already know everything about Big Ed Brown. The only question the rest of this episode will answer is why it took the franchise 4 more years and a woman named Liz to figure out what a Filipina single mom clocked in one dinner.
She brings up having more children, but I've been planning on getting a vasectomy, and I don't know how to tell her.
Here's the consensus read. Ed is a pathetic man-child with a short torso and a goofy beard. A bumbling 50-something who keeps falling face-first into relationships with women half his age. He means well, he just fumbles. He's cringe. He's comic relief. The Mayo-in-the-Beard video launched him as a franchise mascot. He's ridiculous but fundamentally harmless.
I love you. I love you.
Pangit mo.
I love you.
Pangit mo.
Does that mean I love you? I hope it means I love you.
That read is wrong. Ed isn't fumbling. Ed is running a method, and the method is repeatable, documented, and terrifyingly consistent.
Take an STD test!
Let's reconstruct the Ed playbook in real time. Because the method has 4 steps, it has been run at least twice in public view, and the line-level evidence is on tape. Step 1. Identify a woman with significantly less power than you. Rose was 23, in the Philippines, a single mom supporting her son on a teacher's income. She was sending money home to her family. She had 1 passport, limited English, and 0 leverage if Ed ghosted her. Liz, when he met her, was a California waitress working at a restaurant in San Diego where Ed was a regular. She was in her 20s, hadn't finished college, was supporting herself on tips. Both women had less money, less platform, less margin for error than Ed. Both were, crucially, in the service industry to Ed directly. Liz literally served him food, and Rose was flown across an ocean to service an emotional demand. The power gradient was steep in both directions by design. Step 2. Perform grand romantic gesture. Fly to the Philippines. Show up at the restaurant. Propose fast. Move fast. Lock in emotional investment before the woman has time to run a background check on, say, your internet history. Step 3, and this is the signature Ed move, surface a humiliation that forces the woman to either absorb it or become the unreasonable one. Your breath is not pretty is not a boyfriend giving honest feedback. That's a framing device. He is announcing to Rose, your body is up for discussion with me now, and your options are either to laugh it off, apologize for it, or become the difficult one who can't take a joke. She chose, in the moment, to laugh it off. She had no idea she was being trained.
So, I'll make you do it. If you shave your legs, I'll shave my beard.
He did it again 2 scenes later with the legs. Told Rose she needed to shave her legs before he'd be physically comfortable with her. Filmed, aired. He did it again with the STD test. Demanded she take one before they were intimate. Mind you, this is a 54-year-old man asking a 23-year-old single mother to prove her sexual history is clean, while not disclosing one single piece of information about his own, while not offering to take one himself, while holding a video camera that was going to humiliate her for a cable audience of millions. Every one of these demands does the same structural work. It positions Ed as the one doing the evaluating. Rose becomes the applicant. Liz becomes the applicant. And applicants don't ask.
I got you a cute toothbrush. Just your breath is not pretty.
Step 4. And this is where the method reveals itself as a method. Star reset when resistance accumulates. Every time Rose started pushing back, Ed pulled the plug. Every time Liz pushed back, Ed canceled the wedding. When a woman stops absorbing the humiliations, the method requires a new woman. The exits look like breakups. They're refreshes.
I want to get a vasectomy, but I don't want to tell her. I'm at a place in my life where I've raised my daughter.
And then he lied about wanting kids. And this is the one. This is the line item that, on its own, should have retired Ed from television. Rose had a son. Rose was clear, very early, repeatedly clear, that she wanted more children with whoever she ended up with. She was 23. She had her whole reproductive life ahead of her. Ed had already had a vasectomy. He never told her. He flew to her country. He proposed. He let her build a future in her head. More kids, a family, a life that he had no intention and no biological capacity to deliver. And he only confessed when it was no longer avoidable, when the language got so specific that silence became cruelty. That's not a fumble. That's a man running out the clock on somebody else's fertility for ratings. A 23-year-old's fertility is a finite resource. Ed knew that. Ed spent it.
Rose. Rose.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I dropped it, so... Thank you.
Now, fast forward to Liz, California waitress. Closer in age to Ed's own adult daughter, Tiffany, the daughter who, by the way, has publicly cut Ed off and not spoken to him, than to Ed. And watch him run the exact same playbook. Grand gestures, fast engagement, surface humiliations. The taco pasta fight, an actual sentence I am paying to say, becomes the pretext for canceling the wedding. Taco pasta. He walked out on his own engagement over taco pasta.
You know, I'm calling off the wedding. I'm canceling everything. She really didn't believe me, or she didn't hear me. And then the follow-up was my best friend, who was the officiant.
15 times. That's how many times Ed and Liz publicly broke up across their franchise run. 15. That's not a couple in trouble. That's a franchise subplot with a rehearsed cadence. Ed breaks up, Liz cries, Ed comes back, Ed escalates, Ed breaks up, Liz cries, rerun. And TLC films every single one. Because TLC figured out about 4 seasons into Ed's franchise career that the breakup cycle is the product. The engagement is irrelevant, the wedding is irrelevant, the canceled wedding is the content.
I'm freaking out again. I love you.
I'm freaking out again.
And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud, so I will. Ed's own adult daughter, Tiffany, will not speak to him. Tiffany is closer in age to Liz than Ed is to Lace. Think about that for 1 second. Ed's daughter and Ed's fiancé could be at the same bar on a Friday night and nobody would blink. Tiffany has drawn a public line. Tiffany has said, functionally, I do not recognize this man. And Ed's response to the estrangement of his actual child has never been to interrogate the behavior. It has been to keep dating women his daughter's age, on camera, for the cable network that keeps paying him.
Of breakups. Liz recounted the pasta incident, where Ed belittled her daughter for not liking the spice level of his taco pasta, leading to a confrontation between them. Instead of talking...
Here's where it pivots from comic to architectural. The Rose arc is not a failed relationship Ed learned from. It's the pilot. Rose got the beta version of the method. Liz got the fully productized version. Same humiliation mechanic. Same age gap problem, inverted just enough to be legible in California, but still 30 plus years. Same lie about the future strategy. Same ring pulled, same wedding canceled, same I'm being honest with her confessional voiceover.
Then I can say, would your sister ask me for money? And she'll be like, no. And you'll be like, oh, I love you, baby. Yeah.
And here's the money moment of the entire Ed canon. At the Happily Ever After Season 7 tell-all, producers brought Rose out as a surprise guest. She walked on stage with printed screenshots, actual receipts of recent FaceTime calls Ed had been placing to her during his engagement to Liz. Rose, the Filipina single mom he had humiliated 4 years earlier on her own kitchen floor, showed up to a tell-all with documentary evidence. Ed's response was not to deny it, not to explain it, but to claim he couldn't remember. He couldn't remember making the calls. Ma'am, respectfully, you called a woman in the Philippines multiple times this year and you forgot, like it was groceries.
No Rose episodes. Just Big Ed going around and being like, it's all Rose's fault, guys.
How's Rose?
The method requires that the previous woman never quite leaves the chat. Ed needs Rose accessible in his contacts, sort of on standby, while he runs the Liz version. Because if the Liz version fails, he's not starting from zero. He's redeploying. And when the Liz version did fail, because of course it did, the method has a built-in expiration date. Ed immediately announced a new engagement. Set in. A woman he was allegedly in contact with during the Liz arc, which means while Liz was on camera being humiliated about taco pasta, Ed was already dating the next applicant. The transition time between fiancés was functionally zero because the method requires the next one to already be warm. You don't.
How's Rose?
And this is the thing about Ed that the mayo-in-the-beard era absolutely critically fundamentally got wrong. The mayo was not a character flaw the audience was asked to laugh at so they would forgive him. The mayo was the distraction. The mayo was the thing that let him keep operating. Because a man you are actively laughing at is a man you are not actively prosecuting. Every mayo meme, every viral clip of him trying to stand on a beach, every listicle that called him Big Ed, the internet's favorite goofball, all of that content was structurally providing air cover for a man who was running the same exploitative playbook on a new woman every 2 years.
I love you. Kiss.
Now zoom out. What Reddit keeps calling Ed's pattern is not a pattern. This is the most easy method for me. I mean, so much from people who like Ed's, Ed runs it on purpose, consciously or not, because it produces exactly the outcome he wants, which is an endless supply of younger women tolerating humiliation in exchange for a version of commitment he is structured.
By the way, I don't want kids. Oh, wink!
The franchise's mistake, and it's the same mistake they made with Angela Deem, with Colt Johnson, with half the old guard, was mistaking a method for a character. A character evolves. A character has an arc. Ed is the same in the Liz finale that he was in the Rose pilot, down to the line-level phrasing. He didn't grow. He iterated.
All right. He conveniently forgot to tell his mom that he lied about his height, lied about wanting kids, refused to send $75 to his sister, then blamed Rose.
And to be fair, the walk-back moment, the women Ed runs this on, are, in most cases, adults who made the call to stay. Rose is not a passive victim of Ed Brown. She cashed the appearance fees. She showed up at the HEA tell-all with screenshots, which is not the move of a woman who's been destroyed. That is the move of a woman who is extracting her own invoice. Liz went back 15 times. 15. She's an adult who could have, at any of those 15 off-ramps, taken one. They're not puppets, they're co-stars. The responsibility isn't 100% Ed's, but the method is. The method was his. He brought that to the set. The women just kept showing up to read the scene because TLC was paying them to. And that's the thing about Big Ed that the mayo-in-the-beard era got wrong. The mayo was never the problem. The mayo was the camouflage.
Over taco pasta. Despite their plans to marry and settle down in Arkansas, their relationship is plagued by a significant age gap and an almost laughable number of breakups.
And here's the final move, the one I want you to watch for in the next woman's arc, because there will be a next woman's arc. Ed will announce the engagement publicly. Ed will appear with her on a franchise promo. Ed will say, "This one is different." Ed will describe the new woman as the most supportive, most beautiful, most kind woman he's ever met. Exactly the adjectives he used for Rose, exactly the adjectives he used for Liz, and exactly the same confessional voice cadence. Ed will propose on camera. Ed will move fast. Ed will surface a humiliation in the first 3 episodes. Ed will have a taco pasta equivalent argument. Ed will cancel the wedding. Ed will reset. Because the method is not broken. The method works. The method is the product Ed is selling to TLC, and TLC is a buyer. The Reddit take that Ed is a pathetic man-child, that he can't help himself, that he's an awkward romantic, relies on the assumption that Ed is trying and failing. Ed is not trying. Ed is not failing. Ed is succeeding. He has been getting exactly what he wants for 6 straight seasons. The network has been getting exactly what it wants for 6 straight seasons. The only people losing in this exchange are the women he cycles through, and the women he cycles through are getting appearance checks and follower counts on the way out. So even they are, by the time the contract wraps, partially indemnified.
And asked me not to tell Rose.
The one and only actual loss in the Ed system is the life the next woman could have had if she'd never opened that DM. That life is not recoverable. Rose's son is going to grow up knowing his mother was made on camera to take an STD test by a 54-year-old man who was simultaneously lying to her about children. That footage does not get deleted. That footage is on YouTube. That footage is in the DNA of a franchise that is still, as I speak, casting the next Rose. Ed is what happens when a man figures out at 54 that looking ridiculous is a better disguise than looking dangerous. And the mayo was always the alibi. The beard was always the costume. The short torso was always the marketing hook. And underneath all of it, a 54-year-old man is running the same routine on the next 23-year-old he can find. If you made it this far, you either love me or you're looking for something to yell about in the comments. Either way, like, subscribe, and tell your sister.